Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for today's video. I wanted to talk to you about covenants, contracts, and consents, protection, spiritually and physically, from the narcissist. So let's jump in. When it comes to the narcissist, I don't know, what is that movie called? Y'all got to see that last movie with Michael B. Jordan in it. I can't remember the name. But it's about, essentially it's about vampires. You know, the ones with the fangs, not the ones we deal with. But I often wonder in history if when they're talking about real vampires, are they really talking about these energy ones in disguise? Because there's always a flip to the truth. They got to tell you the truth, but they tell it to you in a lie. Because a devil or a demon or a fallen angel can never tell you the truth the right way. So God makes them tell it the best they can in all their stupid lies or their mockeries. So they usually tell it the truth upside down, inside out, or backwards, or from around the corner. They'll tell it in a joke, in a mockery, or they'll tell the truth from a crazy person screaming it as they're screaming a bunch of other stuff, like a crazy politician or something. And nobody will take a lot of this stuff serious, but that's how the cult, or that's how the Illuminati, that's how they spew the real truth. And usually we're so indoctrinated we just laugh at it, or we just say that's crazy talk, because the truth is really and truly stranger than fiction. If you knew all of what's going on in the world and how it really works. I mean, we are on a flat earth. I don't care what people say. This earth is flat as a pancake. And we're not flying 67,000 miles an hour. And I always get back to that because that's one huge type of conspiracy that people laugh at. And how could we be so pompous to think that in the last 400 years, or whatever they say, I think it was like 1600s or something, some illuminist brought to our attention that we're on a spinning ball flying 67,000 miles an hour, and we could shoot some stupid space shuttle out of that and it doesn't blow up to a million pieces, and then find our planet again and fly back into something going 67,000 miles an hour, always constantly flying at the sun. When the North Star never budges from the North Pole, everything's spinning around us, okay? Space is CGI, most of it. But anyway, I'm just saying that's how bad our world is indoctrinated to us, to our beliefs. Look into it, or don't, I don't care. We're held in by an ice wall, and outside of that, there's more land and more waters. And then there's a dome, a firmament, God called it, a glass dome with water above it to separate the waters above from the waters below. And that's why the sky is blue, because there's water above the glass dome that's impenetrable. It's called the rakia because it's like a rock. It's made, when you make glass, you make it out of sand, burning sand. So it's metal. So glass is metal, metallic. That's why the lightning banks off of the dome. It's grounding out in metals. And the ionosphere, where the AM, FM, they would say, used to bounce off the ionosphere. The ionosphere is the dome, y'all. That's why they won't let you go out to Antarctica or certain places like the North Pole, the true North Pole, or places like that. That's why there's ice and snow up there, because they don't want you up there, because you'll find the edges of the dome. Anyway, we're locked in here with these fallen angels. That's what happened. We're on a prison planet. I think they just keep reincarnating as our authorities. And then the narcissists are the street soldiers. They're the dumb ones. They're their demon prodigy, their demon copulations from the giants of old when they mated with human women. And the upper echelon, they're the fallen angel types. Yeah, they look human, but they're not human. They're the ones, the powers and principalities that we deal with from Ephesians 6:12. Read it. I have it on my arm because my ex turned into a demon and time stood still. I did several videos on that. I saw things in the physical form, y'all, and it was crazy. And that old Scream mask from like 1996 or whatever, when that movie came out, that's one of the faces that I saw melt off of her, off this individual. And it didn't flip me out. I guess I was prepared to deal with it. It was about 3 years ago. It's crazy. So this is all for entertainment purposes only. But then I got tracked for about 30 days by monitoring spirits, and I had another one unmask partially. Maybe I'll do a video on that. But stuff is bizarre. The truths of this world are bizarre. And when this movie that he did, Michael B. Jordan, it was about these vampires, but they had to be consented, is my point. Some of the things they talked about in there is true. And that's why I don't like to have a welcome mat, because you ain't welcome. Not everybody welcome in my house. And that's the thing the cult will do is they'll make stuff that you'll buy in the store that will give them free access, like the welcome mat and things like that. Things that are almost you're consenting to anybody being able to come into your house because you have a welcome mat outside your front door, y'all. Mine don't say nothing. Ain't nobody coming in if they ain't a light worker. You staying outside. And don't touch me. Don't fist bump me, shake my hand, or nothing. I don't want no hugs, no prayers. But these are all consents, covenants, and contracts. When you go into a relationship with a narcissist, you go into a consent, a covenant, and a contract with that narcissist, the dark energy behind the narcissist. And that's where they end up getting full control over you as they break you down. You're giving them consent to do it. And they'll have consent, and they are forced, in my opinion, they're forced to cycle with you because that gives you a chance to start to break that consent or that contract. If you choose to, in recovery, to run, you can save yourself, and God gives you grace to do that, to wake up and leave. But a lot of people keep returning or letting them return for more and more of their spiritual blood to take from you and break you down more. Who the hell wants that? They're complete takers, they're complete destroyers. They need it. They're opportunists. So any opportunity that arises, they'll take it. That's why they sleep with everybody and they don't even think about it because it's an opportunity that arose. So they'll just tell you they're coming home late or they're not coming home at all. You're just going to accept it at some point. It's because you got into a covenant contract and a consent with some dark energy, and it's going to do what it wants, especially after it pounces on top of you and pulls your vibration down to the ground and starts to witchcraft, spell you, hex you, all kind of things. Doesn't matter if you're saved or not. If you keep operating in and communing with dark energy, you're going to get what comes to you. I have. Only when you pull away and continue to pull away can you start to really break that contract, that covenant or consent. And what I wanted to say in regards to abundance is when you start deciding you want to walk in abundance and you start heading towards walking in those type principles that I did a video on earlier today, you're going to have to understand that you're going to have to cycle out with all the negative reaping that you have coming at you. So that may come first. That may take between a year or two if you were to stop it right now. You know what I mean? I don't know how much is reserved, and everybody's got a different reserve of negative energy coming at them after leaving a narcissist. But every time that you talk with the narcissist, every time that you go back to them and hang out with them or agree to get with them for a night or whatever, you're re-upping that contract. And that's why you feel in your head you have to start all over. You know, when you'd be like, oh, I've been like 90 days or 6 months, I haven't talked to them, and you feel pretty good about that. But then they pop up and you may hang out with them, do something because you feel like you need a hit of that dopamine, you know? You need a hit of that crack pipe. Well, when you do that the next day after, it's all over, how do you feel? Just even minutes after like sleeping with somebody like that, you feel like crap. You're like, I got to start all over. I had 6 months behind my belt. But the thing is you can't just do it all on willpower. So you have to understand that as well. You can't just say, I'm going to stay away from some individual that's toxic and I'm going to get over it. You have to be purposefully on a mission to healing and recovery of not just that relationship, but what went wrong in that relationship probably has patterns that go way back. So you got to learn narcissism, and then you have to look back into your family and childhood and all of the people that you've been around your whole life and the influence that was upon your life. You have to sort it out, and that will help you to understand a lot of the wounding that you went through and why you had to. And it will help you to understand who you are and why all of this was done to you. It was done to you because you're not the what they told you. You were the weakest one. You were the empathic one. You're the weakest one because you loved and they didn't. They were hardcore killers. They were hardcore destroyers, and you weren't. So you were weak. No, love's the strongest power in anywhere, in any galaxy or any place because it comes from God. And that's his. He's known for truth and love and superiority. So there's nothing that can beat love. Just if you're operating it incorrectly, you can do anything that could be superior, but because you're operating it incorrectly, it's not going to be of use to you. It could actually be totally used against you, and that's the case. So it's not that you need to stop loving or you need to stop healing, because if you don't heal these chakras, these wheels of energy inside you, and open them back up, start to get them to turn again so that you can have full energy from your pelvis to your crown. That's where they're all kind of located, and they do different things, and they hold different energies and emotions and creativity and prosperous abundance. So you should feel comfortable opening those centers back up, knowing this information that you can love again. You just have to choose and be bougie about who you love. I mean, you're going to be nitpicky, especially if you've been through a lot of turmoil and trauma. So allow yourself to feel again and to meditate on healing and going back into your childhood. And when you understand who you are, where you came from, you're actually the strongest one in your family because you're real, first of all. And then you carry the weight of the family's energy. If they were prospering, they were prospering because you were there. And when you're not there anymore, if you cut cords with anywhere that you are, a business, a company, a friend, a relative, anybody that's been sucking off you, using you for their abundance, clout chasing from you, they will fall apart if they don't have their own authenticity. Don't get it twisted. The narcissist is weaker than a piece of loose leaf paper, softer than a sticker, y'all. They ain't got what you got. They ain't got the guns that you got. They don't got the armor that you got. And that's the thing, you have to build armor. You have to have boundaries, firm, ironclad boundaries. When people come back, tell them, hell no. You don't want to engage with them. That's the other part. One of your boundaries is to be indifferent to the situation. One of your boundaries is to be silent anywhere. Don't give too much information out. You don't need to. It's not necessary. It's not wise. It's not savvy, because they will use every word against you. You don't argue. You don't engage. You listen. If they want to talk, you'll listen and then walk away. I gotta go. You done? I gotta go. And it makes me wonder, I've been saying for a long time that you need to forgive them, forgive everybody, right? But there's something that I started dwelling on. There's one thing I want to say about that, and that's be careful with that. And that's what I'm learning. You do want to forgive everybody, but I heard a lot of people say on my channel, you don't have to forgive a demon or devil, whatever. And I get that. But if you don't forgive the situation that you went through, whoever the person looks like, that you won't be able to let it go. You'll hold on to it. So whether it's a demon or a human, you're going to be holding on to it and carrying that burden around until you heal it, which would be to let it go or to forgive them. You don't have to forgive them to their face. I mean, you can do it with the Lord in private. I mean, it's not like they give you closure anyway. So that's your authority on that, in my opinion. If they were to give you closure, yeah, maybe you can forgive them in front of their face. But a lot of times they're hiding after they leave you because they ran off. They ditched you. They wanted you to chase them. They destroyed you, wrecked you, hurt you, tried to put you out, put you down. I don't need to go find them to give them forgiveness. I don't even have to let them know whether I forgave them or not. But what I want to say about that is I was thinking about it. And I would say if you ever verbally give forgiveness to somebody like that, then make it sure that first you say that I would say this: I don't forgive you, don't get forgiveness for the judgment that has been dealt to you for the things you've done to me. Now that's between you and God. But on my end, outside the judgment, I forgive you. But I don't, it's like you don't necessarily want them to not get the judgment that comes along with that. You do. You want them to get the judgment. They deserve it. You get it. They should get it. So I think it's kind of wise because you don't want anybody to avoid judgment when they've done these kinds of things to you. And it's not that you're holding it or hanging on to it, but it's necessary because they avoid so much. And you want to continually pull away from those people and cut those cords and continue to pull your energy back, maybe 3 times a day. Just say, Holy Spirit, I ask for you to bring my energy back free and clear. It's not theirs, it's me. Because you have particles of your energy they're trying to hold on to. They're trying to grasp all the time. If you could think of the spirit realm, they're doing this with their snakes, trying to hook back up to you energetically. So you want to build good boundaries. You don't want to consent to anything. You don't want to shake hands, nod your head. You don't want to say yes to something that should have been a no. You don't want to have too much interaction where you're hugging, shaking hands, bumping fists, or having any kind of talk that's not necessary. Listen much and speak little, it says in the word. It says to be as wise as a serpent, but as gentle as a dove, and you can be that. To be as wise as a serpent is to be firm and to be indifferent, to speak little and listen much. You also are on a time. You're going to look at your watch and be like, hurry up. Say what you got to say. I'll stand silent and then I'll leave. And that's being gentle. It's also being wise, savvy, and firm. You have to be assertive. Nobody's going to assert protection for you. If you don't care about yourself, nobody's going to care about you. If you don't love yourself, nobody's going to love you. You got to learn to love yourself. To be truly abundant, you have to love yourself. And these are ways of healing. You got to balance out your endocrine system when you leave the narcissist, because you got the highs, the dopamine, the serotonin, and then you have the lows, the cortisol, and they keep going like this with you, banging them back and forth, banging them back and forth, and getting you to stay addicted to them. So if you can leave the narcissist and stay on a, what do you call that? What's that term? A stoic, a platform of stoicism for a time. That means don't be too happy and don't be too cold or depressed. You know, you may look cold, but who cares? You're healing, so you have a reason. So you don't want to. Sometimes when you look like you're cold, people bother you less too, and that's a good thing. That's sometimes a boundary. What do they call it? The RBF. Sometimes you have the RBF on when you heal, and that's okay, because you don't want idiots coming up to you bothering you, because they feel like they're going to get chopped off at the head, and that's cool. You can feel whatever you want. I may not feel that way, but I may look that way. But I'm healing, bitch. So yeah, everything that you do is going to be a covenant, contract, or a consent. So you got to break from that. And sometimes they have to cycle. So sometimes there's going to be a number of months, or it could be a year term that you agreed to. Maybe you don't know it, but spiritually you're bound to it. Now, you can stop or revoke the cycle midstream, but it doesn't stop. It still has a cycle, meaning people can, you'll be able to protect yourself. You'll be able to block things, but to end that cycle, they may be able to come into your fields. They'll still be able to access you to some degree, and you'll still be somewhat more susceptible to that contract. So you got to be careful, because that's where they can still play on your harp strings easier. Because after that cycle, let's say it's a year, and you break up with the narcissist 6 months out, so they have re-up the contract with you spiritually for a whole year, because they have to re-up them. That's why they like to come back to re-up that contract spiritually. So, you know, if you broke it off 6 months in, you got 6 more months to cycle out before you can cut those cords completely. or to get them out of your energy, to get them out of having some form of grasp on you. Okay. So just continue on your path, but just know that you're a little bit more sensitive to accepting stupid apologies that are fake and letting them play on you. Know that you're going to be a little bit vulnerable, where if you wait 6 more months, you'll be stronger and you'll clip those things for good. Contracts will be revoked. And people will say, well, God will stop it right away. But, God put things into this earth's foundation for a reason. And even witchcraft and covenants, contracts, consents, they have terms. You'll be protected, but you won't be as abundant until you cycle those things out. And you got to show your worth by doing it. This is how you prepare for abundance and spiritual growth. So you're not looking at it right if you're looking at it like everything should be cut tomorrow. That's, again, it's like narcissism, when you just feel like God should bless you with a bunch of riches and you're not going to do anything with it, or you didn't do anything to want it. Why should he be motivated to bless you? What are you doing to help humanity? You're not even in the action of trying to pursue any kind of company, career, or situation that's going to help people. But you want to be blessed because you just know that you're privileged to? No. Same thing goes with these cycles. These cycles, you got to look at them like, yeah, God could break anything, but he's not going to break things that he put into the grounds, the foundation, that have to cycle out. You have to cycle them out. And you got to look at it like he's building spiritual growth in you, spiritual muscle, by you finishing that cycle out. Are you saying that you don't have the strength to perform the rest of the cycle without the narcissist? Because that's what he's testing you on. So it's either you can or you can't. It's either you're going to play the victim and try to act privilege, or are you going to accept your woes for the things that you did, finish that cycle out like a warrior, and walk up into your abundance knowing who the hell you are. When you accept money, when you sign contracts, when you buy cars, when you buy homes, anything, if you notice, everything is signed for, handshaked. Repeat after me, oaths and things. Those are all contract, covenant, consents. Money exchange, contract, covenant, consents. Everything that you do, agreeing to hang out with certain evil friends that are toxic, you're consenting to being part of their evil web. So when they get hit with karma, you get it too. When you're ex-narcissist, when you're in their web because you want to be in a covenant with them because you feel like you're going to fix them, they look so sorrowful, they're repentant. No, they're not. But the first thing they're going to do is do some more evil, and it's going to come back on you because you're their protector from that evil. Let them get what they deserve. Don't put your armor up to protect them and give them all the fruit of your labor. Be a man, be a woman, be victorious. That's why the world is the way it is, because you have too much compassion. People have too much compassion for things that aren't right. They're not true. They're a lie. And you keep believing the lie. You're sleeping with the enemy, and you're treating them like they're your true divine counterpart when they're not. So anyway, thank you for watching. Until next time.